Welcome to this week's episode of the BreakDown. I'm Mike.
And I'm Austin.
And to give you all a little preview of what we're going to be talking about on today's show, we're going to be breaking down the conference championship games going on this past weekend. We're going to be breaking down the committee's decision on the playoff teams. We're going to talk about Jimbo to A&M, Herm Edwards to Arizona State, and Scott Frost to Nebraska. And going to the NFL, we're going to be talking about some of the big games going on this weekend, kind of break them down, give our predictions. And the NBA, we're going to be talking about the player ejections. Is that the players' fault or is it just strict officials? And the first time ever, we're talking about a little baseball in here. We're talking about the Yankees hired Aaron Boone. And where do we think Giancarlo Stanton is going to be at the beginning of the season?
So I guess to start it off with championship Saturday last week. Had some big games. Definitely decided the college football playoff. First game I want to talk about, though, is the ACC championship game again with Clemson versus Miami. What's your reaction to that game? I know it was a blowout.
Clemson just dominated. They proved that they were the better team. Miami just offensively just couldn't get anything done, and because of that, their defense was on the field the whole time. Made the defense look really bad. Who all season's been fairly solid. Rozier was only he only had 110 passing yards and 2 interceptions, and then the running game, their leading rusher had 44 yards. They just couldn't get anything done offensively, and Clemson was just. Bryant had over 250 passing yards. The rushing game really wasn't there, but they didn't need it to be. Their defense played great, only gave up 3 points, and they didn't really need to do a lot this game to have struggle. They pretty much dominated from the get-go.
Right. I feel that Miami was just outmatched. That's basically all it was. Last week we talked about it on the show. What we thought was going to happen. I really saw this coming. Clemson had a lot more talent than Miami. It showed on the field. Miami just couldn't get the passing game going. Then they got down early in the game. Kelly Bryant started the game off, I believe, 15 of 15. He finished the game 23 of 29 for 250 yards passing. So he starts off the game hot. They go down. They take a early lead, 2-3 touchdown lead, and Miami. Then at that point you have to throw the ball, and they just don't have the quarterback play to throw the ball. Only 110 yards passing and 2 interceptions. Another big time factor in this game was we talked about it. Miami's a great team defensively, and they get turnovers, and that's what they hang their hat on.
They did force 3 turnovers during the game,
but.
They had 3 turnovers. Correction, I apologize.
Yeah, during the game, I remember they had several plays where Clemson fumbled in the red zone, and Miami fumbled over the ball, had 2 or 3 guys there to recover it and try to pick up a score instead of just covering the ball, and Clemson ended up recovering it. And so missed opportunities killed Miami on defense from getting clutch turnovers that could have turned the game around.
Yeah, Miami just didn't show up, and I felt that they weren't ready this year. I felt like it was a good year for them. And they should build on this, get another good recruiting class in, and maybe they can bounce back next year.
I think they're going to be a good team next year.
Yeah, so definitely let's just see if they can bounce back. And but yeah, Clemson definitely was just the more dominant, better team all around.
Absolutely,
but,
no doubt.
Talking about the SEC championship game, how do you feel about it?
Look, we knew this coming in. I think Georgia showed a lot of team spirit and a lot of mental toughness. After that loss, they had to Auburn early in the season. It wasn't early in the season, but kind of towards the end of the season. They got blown out. Everybody knows about it. They come back, fight through adversity. They build as a team, get stronger, and they play a hot Auburn team, the SEC championship game. And Auburn just came in too cocky, too arrogant, thinking they were going to do the same thing they did to Georgia at first, and Georgia came in more hungry.
Yeah, I agree. I liked Georgia. We both predicted Georgia to win this game. I just feel with it being on a neutral field had a big factor. I feel like and then I feel Georgia. They just came in. They were hungry. They wanted to get this win. They wanted to erase that loss a few weeks ago to Auburn, and you could see it. Total yards they had 421 compared to Auburn's just 259, and this was the big factor. Georgia had 0 turnovers.
Yeah,
Auburn had 2 plus a blocked field goal by Georgia. They just were the better team. Jake Fromm was very solid. He managed the game. He did good. He had 16 of 22, 183, 2 touchdowns. Most times, the 2 touchdowns definitely can win you a game, but overall he just managed it, and that's what you want from a guy. The running game pretty much carried the way. Swift had that big run, and it was just they kind of just beat guys down. Chubb had 13 carries for 77. Michelle had 7 carries for 45. They just they broke down that Auburn defense, and then offensively for Auburn, they just couldn't really just get a whole lot done. Stidham was like 16 to 32 passing. I mean, the Kerryon Johnson, you could just tell was not healthy at all. That had a huge factor in it. So I just feel Auburn came in thinking that we beat this team 2 weeks ago. We should beat them again, and it came back to bite them. I think they had Georgia. They came in with more hungry than Auburn, and I think that's why they got the W.
I think the same thing. Georgia came in a lot hungrier than them. A big stat in this game: 31 carries for 114 yards by Auburn. You cannot win in the SEC if you run the ball for 3.7 yards a carry, especially a team like Georgia. They control the tempo of the game. Auburn really hangs their hat on the run, and they set up the play-action pass with Jarrett Stidham. They couldn't get the run going, so therefore Stidham couldn't get the play-action pass going. He was 16 of 32 from the I think he was averaging 4.5 yards per pass, so that's not really what you want to see. You want to see big plays from that Auburn offense. Last week I also said that I thought in order for Georgia to win, Jake Fromm needed to have a big game, and he definitely stepped up. True freshman, came in during midway through the season during that injury to Eason. I think he really set the tone for this Georgia team. He's a game manager, but that's all I need him to do. 16 of 22 passing, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns in the SEC championship game. Go get him, young fella. Good game for him.
Yeah, it was a great game for him. But going on to the Big Ten championship game, you had Iowa State winning by 6 over Wisconsin, who I feel Wisconsin, honestly, what killed them was their quarterback play. Hornibrook just was not that great. I mean, yes, he had 229 yards passing, but he was 19 of 40 with 2 interceptions. You need more from your quarterback in a big game like this if you expect to beat a team like Ohio State. I mean, I feel their defense, yes, they gave up 27 points, but their defense in the second half only gave up 6 points. You need your quarterback to come up big there to help you win the game.
Here's the issue I have with the Ohio State-Wisconsin game. Wisconsin is a very physical football team. They hang their hat on the run. If you look at the stats, Alex Hornibrook had 40 attempts. You don't want him. Wisconsin-led offense. You don't want their quarterback to have 40 attempts. It was a close game throughout, so it wasn't like they needed him to throw the ball. They did have 32 rushing attempts, but that means they had 70 plays on offense. You gotta be more heavy towards the run and try to get Jonathan Taylor in that run game going. They really kind of got away from it. Jonathan Taylor had 15 yards rushing. You look at their other rushing stats. It looks like they ran a lot of jet sweeps. That's what they hang their hat on. Kind of like what Matt Canada does at LSU. But very close game. Could have went either way. Big props to J.T. Barrett fighting through that injury and leading his team to victory. And, Ohio State deserved to win. They came out on top, and, so all I have to say about it. It was a close game. Could have went either way.
Yeah, it was a close game. Could have gone either way. I just feel if the quarterback play from Wisconsin would have been better, I feel they easily could have won this game if the quarterback play would have been better. But I have hats off to J.T. Barrett, showing a lot of heart coming from off that knee surgery. Very pleased with him and his performance. And I feel for him for not making the playoff. You'd like to see him get a shot again. But
yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about that later. But, big win for Ohio State. Sadly, didn't go to win the playoff, but we'll get to that. And like I said, Wisconsin need better quarterback play. But going to another big conference game, really wasn't close, but I feel we got to talk about is the Oklahoma TCU game. I mean, Oklahoma pretty much just had it in control right from the game. They were after the first quarter, they were up 17-0.
Yeah, Oklahoma just too overpowering for TCU's defense. Their offense probably had the best offense in college football as a whole in the country.
I agree.
Baker Mayfield probably going to win the Heisman Trophy. Definitely the front runner. Just too much talent, too much firepower for TCU to hang with. Give my props for TCU though on a great season. 9-3 is not a bad record for them.
No, it was a good solid season for TCU, but Oklahoma just too much offensive firepower. Yeah. I don't blame TCU. There hasn't been pretty much anybody that's been able to stop them this year. Their offense has just been definitely, without a doubt, the best offense in all of college football behind Baker Mayfield and Anderson, the tailback. So definitely they're a team to watch out for the playoffs with that offense. But now that we kind of talk about the big games in there, I got to ask, do you agree with the committee's decision on the 4 teams in the playoffs?
Look, man, let me tell you, the college football playoff, when it first came out, when they first decided to do the playoff, the committee came out with their criteria for what they wanted to see from teams in order to make the college football playoff. At that time, They said conference championship was a big deal and strength of schedule. And I feel like the last 2 seasons they haven't gone on what they said. They've been consistent with their actions, but their words haven't matched what they've said. Look at this year, definitely the top 3: Clemson, Oklahoma, Georgia. Definitely set in. They won their conference champion. The real question was that Alabama deserved to get in over Ohio State or Wisconsin. Bama has 1 loss in the season. They didn't make the college football. Their conference game. To me, if you were going on what the committee said at the beginning of this playoff system, I don't think Bama should have got in. I think if you don't get a chance to play in the conference championship game, you shouldn't be able to be in the college football playoff. Wisconsin, I feel bad for them because they had 12-0 on the season and they lose 1 game in the conference championship that could have really could have won either way that game, and they get penalized because they lose in the conference championship game, whereas Alabama loses in the regular season and still gets into the playoff even though they didn't make the conference championship. So I just feel like they need to fix the system. It's they'll learn from it. I would really like to see a 16 playoff in the future.
I would like to see the 16 playoff. I do agree with that, but I agree with the committee's decision to put Bama in. Because I just feel that loss to Iowa for Ohio State, they lost by 31 to an unranked team. You can't do that if you want to be in the playoffs. I get it. They won their conference. Your top 4 team doesn't lose to an unranked team by 31.
Yeah, but a top 4 team doesn't even go to they didn't even go to the conference championship game. You're still going to put them in?
Yeah, I'd still put
them in.
That's
ridiculous, man.
They're one of the top 4. Between Ohio State and Alabama, who's better as a team?
If you're going top 4 teams, you go Alabama based on talent. Based on talent, but this is not about talent, okay? In the NFL, if you have the most talented team and not made the playoffs, but do you still put them in the playoffs? No, it goes on record. They lost 1 game in the regular season, didn't make their conference championship, and Ohio State did make the conference championship and actually won it and beat the 4th ranked team in the country who was undefeated. This is not about who's the best team who's the top 4 teams. It's about who deserves to go in based on their resume.
I disagree. I just thought that loss to Iowa. I can't stand it. Alabama had a better loss.
It was a better loss. That's what we're talking about. Better losses. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about better wins. We're talking about better losses.
Alabama only lost 1 game all year.
Who they beat?
It's not. They beat Florida State at the beginning of the year. They were
Florida State 4-6. They're 5-6 now. They bowl eligible, but
they're 6-5.
After they're 6-6, they got bowl eligible, but they were 4-6 at one point in the season.
If Francois doesn't go down,
but that's what you're saying. Season. But that's what you're saying is their biggest win, Florida State. That's your argument. Who they beat? You're saying Florida State.
They're one of the top teams in the nation. They deserve to be in the playoffs over Ohio State. Ohio State, if they would have beat Iowa, they're in. No question.
I don't think. Look, Ohio State. Here's a question for you. Okay, so Wisconsin. You're just counting them out automatically because they lost in the conference championship game. To me, Wisconsin's
not one of the top. Yes, they lost their conference championship.
But Bama doesn't even get to the conference championship and still goes.
They're in the SEC.
So what? The Big Ten last year had almost 2 teams. They almost had 2 teams.
Penn State didn't get in last year. They were in the same situation as Ohio State. So of course they don't.
I know. I didn't agree with it last year. I didn't agree with it last year neither because Ohio State didn't even win the conference, and the team that did win the conference got in. And Penn State beat Ohio State.
I agree. I think Penn State should have gotten Ohio State last year, but the committee's being consistent about this. This 2 years in a row, they made that kind of decision.
This playoff system right now is based on name recognition. If Alabama,
I agree with that. Yeah, Bama has more talent, and I feel they're a better team than Ohio State.
Just because they're Bama, they get in.
No, because they have better talent than Ohio State. I think they're a better team than Ohio State.
That's not what you go on. You don't go on better talent though.
They're a better team.
If their name was Mississippi State, would they still get in? If they had the same roster, same record this year, without past championships, did they get in?
No, of course not.
Because they're Bama, they got in. That's not fair. That's awful. That's a rigged system.
I just think
that's terrible.
Ohio State,
that's awful.
If they would have beat Iowa, they'd be in.
That's awful.
That's what killed them.
Awful. Just awful.
That's why
16 playoffs.
Yeah.
Wisconsin deserves a chance to play.
I agree with that. I agree. This is the whole reason why there should be a 16 playoff.
It's a broken system.
I maybe hope they might improve on it. Maybe they see the improvement and they might.
The problem I have with it is Wisconsin gets penalized for losing a game in the conference championship. They were undefeated all season. They get to the conference championship, they lose a game, they get penalized. Alabama didn't have any big wins neither. We can argue this all day. But the fact of the matter is, Bama lost to Auburn, didn't go to the conference championship. Wisconsin did. They were undefeated. They lost a very close game to Ohio State. They deserve to be in over Bama, over Ohio State. If you're going to look at it based on resume.
Yeah, I agree. But I would put Bama in. just because I feel they're one of the top 4 teams in the nation. It makes the playoff.
Okay.
That's my
16 playoff. That's all I'm saying. 16 playoff.
Yeah,
you give Ohio State and Wisconsin a chance to play in.
But kind of moving on here, I want to talk about the big jobs that just went off the market because of this recent hire. Jimbo to Texas A&M.
Big hire for Texas A&M.
10 years, $75 million. Huge contract.
Dude, I don't know about you, but I was pretty stunned.
I was stunned. I didn't think he was going to leave Florida State.
I thought there was no chance he would leave Florida State. Florida State's a big-time program, one of the top jobs in the country. Jimbo has had tremendous success there. Won a national championship, had numerous draft picks, NFL talent, Jameis Winston, Kelvin Benjamin, to name a few. I was very stunned about this
hire,
but I guess Florida State couldn't match what Texas A&M was offering. Big hire for Texas A&M.
It was just something about it that he liked. I mean, obviously job security, 10 years. I mean, he's going to get paid for the next 10 years and not have to worry about a thing.
For me, be careful with Texas A&M. Next coming years, they have a lot of expectations. I don't know if they can live up to them. I feel like that could be
you're going to have Bama, you're going to have LSU's on the rise.
Yeah, the SEC ain't the ACC.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's not just 3 teams, and there's just 7 or 8, even 9, 10 if you include the East that are in the SEC that can compete with anybody.
Yeah.
So definitely, we'll see. I mean, I think it's a great hire for Texas A&M.
Definitely a great hire.
I just don't know if I'm Jimbo, I don't know if I would have left Florida State.
Yeah.
I feel like they would have had a good team next year with
and they had another good recruiting class coming in. So.
That's what I'm saying. I think he should have.
Speaking of Florida
State, Taggart going there from Oregon is kind of weird. I didn't really.
I don't agree with that hire at all. 1 year at Oregon, then he goes to Florida State. Didn't really have a lot of success.
I think that was them panicking, not knowing who to hire, and they tried to get a Florida guy to be their coach.
To every team's defense, this kind of happened late, kind of the process. Scott Frost already going to Nebraska. Herm Edwards to Arizona State, and then you have Dan Mullen, who he might have been a candidate for Florida State job. He goes to Florida, so some of the big names out there already locked up.
Yeah, but dude, I love. The Herm Edwards to Arizona State, I love that.
Oh, that's
hire.
dude.
You imagine Herm Edwards walking in your house and how are you going to tell him no? I'm not going to go to Arizona State.
Look, he's a seasoned coach.
He's going to pull out the socks, but hey man, look at my socks.
Exactly. He might not have the biggest resume when it comes to coaching, but Arizona State needed a big name, definitely for recruiting because they're Arizona State. It's hard to recruit out there with Arizona and Oregon and the Pac-12. So definitely a big name hire for them, bold, and I'm just really excited about that hire. I'm really ready to see what he can do there, and should have no problem recruiting though with his personality.
No, with his personality, and then him being a big name, yeah, he should have no problems being able to go walk in and recruit some guys.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna get a bunch of 5 stars, but definitely the 4 stars.
Yeah.
He should be able to get some guys. He might get some 5 stars just because of his name, but we'll see. I think it's a great hire. And I also like the hire of Scott Frost for Nebraska.
That's a home run hire.
That is a home run hire. I don't know if Nebraska is going to be great, because, they're Nebraska and having to compete with all those other Big Ten teams, but he's definitely going to I think he's going to put them in the right direction. I think it was a home run hire for them, and I can see him doing great things for Nebraska.
I think Nebraska is one of those sleeping giants. They've proven they can be successful. Historically, they're one of the top programs in the country, so definitely one of the top jobs. And I think that with him going to Nebraska, all he needs is a big time coach to turn that program around. When Bo Pelini was there, they had success. Never lost more than 8 games or 9 games, something like that.
They never lost more than 4 games.
Never lost more than 4 games. What I'm
yeah.
saying. So they've always had big time success there. Just need another coach to go in there, and definitely recruiting's not gonna be a problem. They're Nebraska, so he'll be able to do a good job.
Yeah, I agree. I like all the hires for all the schools, but maybe like I was saying, maybe Jimbo, maybe he should have stayed Florida State. But kind of want to switch over here to the big boys in the NFL. Kind of give some predictions and some kind of breakdown of some of the big games going on this week, especially with playoff implications. I feel like the first game we got to start out with Thursday night. Saints versus Falcons.
My favorite game of the year. I'm not going to lie. My favorite game of the year. Saints-Falcons, one of the biggest rivalries in the NFL. Definitely the biggest rivalry down here where we're from. And, I like the Saints in this one, man. I'm going to go with the Saints. I know the Falcons have played good football lately, but Alvin Kamara, that Saints offense, they're clicking. They get Marshawn Lattimore back. If he plays Thursday, put him on Julio Jones. I think he locks Julio Jones up. Bold prediction, Saints win by 2 touchdowns. I'm going with it.
I'm going with the Falcons.
Oh, of course.
And a close one. I'm going to say Falcons win by 4 because I just feel they need this win. I feel this is a must-win.
It is a must-win.
Then being at home, I just feel that the crowd's going to have a factor, and I just feel Dan Quinn is going to make sure that the intensity is brought, knowing this is a must-win for playoff hopes.
Yeah, the
so
crowd will have a
I think the final score, I'm going to go with 24-20.
Yeah, that's
Falcons.
funny. Pretty funny. 31-17. I don't think it's gonna be close. I think Saints are all around better football team. Falcons just are not. They're not playing good. They're not as good as they should be this year.
I agree, they're not as good as they should be, but I just feel the Falcons get it together for this game.
Okay.
And I just feel, especially with Mark Ingram possibly not playing. If he doesn't play, Kamara's great. I love Kamara. He's definitely the breakout guy this year for all rookies, and he's definitely probably gonna be Pro Bowler. I think he's my rookie of the year. So the Falcons need to find a way to maybe put Deion Jones spying him.
Oh my goodness, Deion Jones is gonna stop Alvin Kamara, please.
I didn't say he's gonna stop him. You just need to slow him down. I mean, you can't stop Kamara.
Please.
Kamara's too good of a player to fully stop.
Please.
So I'm gonna say Falcons 24, Saints 20. Falcons keep their playoff hopes alive.
Yeah, they won't keep them alive for very long after Thursday.
We'll see. But another game we want to talk about this week is the Vikings and Panthers. I feel maybe this game won't be talked as much because it's not as like a flashy matchup.
Definitely
a huge
implications.
Yeah, huge implications play for the Vikings being 10-2 and the Panthers 8-4 is a wild card right now. But I mean, who you liking? Who you think's gonna pull this one out?
Vikings. I think the Vikings might be the best team in the NFL overall. Case Keenum's playing great football right now. If the reason why I don't think they're a Super Bowl team is because of Case Keenum. Can he keep it up? But if they had a really good quarterback back there, a consistent guy, proven, I think they'd be my Super Bowl pick. I like the Vikings defensively. They run the football. They're physical. Carolina just doesn't have passed the eye test last week. I'm happy the Saints, really took care of them easily. Kind of took everybody off a Panthers bandwagon for a moment. They're still a playoff team, I think, but I think the Vikings win.
I like the Vikings in this one. I just feel their defense is phenomenal, and I don't think Carolina honestly has enough weapons offensively to compete. I think this is the type of game where they're really going to miss a Kelvin Benjamin. Because you're telling me Xavier Rhodes is not going to be able to shut down
Devin Funchess?
Yeah. Julio last week only had 2 catches for 24 yards. Xavier Rhodes is one of the best cornerbacks in the league.
Yeah,
Devin Funchess is not one of the best receivers in the league.
Exactly.
So this should be. I see the Vikings winning this game, but honestly, by like maybe 17-20.
I think it's going to be low scoring. Actually, I don't think Carolina scores more than 10, 14 points, something like that.
I see the final being. I'm gonna go with 27-10 as my final.
I think it 17-10. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. Carolina has good defense too, and but at the end of the day, Minnesota's a lot better football team.
I think Minnesota's definitely a way better football team. So that's why their defense is going to carry the road.
Another matchup I want to talk about. I think this is maybe the biggest matchup of the season so far. Philadelphia Eagles, Los Angeles Rams. Two high-powered offenses. Who do you like?
I like the Rams at home.
The Rams. Bold prediction.
I like it. I think the Rams are offensively I think they're going to have the Eagles' number. And I think Eagles coming off a tough loss against Seattle where they were only able to put up 10 points. I mean, the Rams offensively, the last 5 weeks have scored, except for one game, have scored over 25 points in each game. I see the Rams. It's going to be close. I'm going to say the Rams win 31-27. It's my final.
Well, not so fast, my friend. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles on this one. The Rams, I watched them play against the Saints. I've seen some of their other games. I don't think the Rams have enough talent right now to be a contender in the league. They're playing the Philadelphia Eagles, the 1 seed. I'm rooting for the Rams. I think they, if they upset the Eagles, it makes the playoff situation very more interesting, especially at the top with the Saints. The Rams 2 and the Vikings. Each team would have 3 losses, so it'd be a big time log jam at the top of the leaderboard. So I like the Eagles in this one though. Too much offense. Their defense plays playing well. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. I like the Eagles 31-28.
So pretty much same as me, just flip-flopping.
Yeah, flip-flopping.
Yeah, I just feel the Rams offensively are really clicking. I feel like their defense is going to do enough.
I can see the game going either way. If the Rams win this game, it's huge because then, the Eagles lose 2 in a row. Then you kind of wonder, are the Eagles, are they really that good, or maybe they're starting to get in a tougher part of their schedule and they're starting to lose some games. That's what the question would be.
So I guess to kind of close out with NFL, I just want to send my prayers to Ryan Shazier with a scary injury.
Yeah, very scary injury. Hope he's doing well. Prayers to his family.
Got the update today that he is being transferred back to Pittsburgh, so that's great news to hear. So I just wish all the best for him and hope to see him back on the field as soon as possible.
Yeah, hopefully, I just want to see him, up and walking again.
Of course.
Just
You don't
hope
want to
he's-
see an injury.
yeah.
Like, that's always scary.
Yeah,
But
prayers out to him.
Definitely prayers out to him. But kind of moving on to the NBA here, with the ejections going on. I mean, is it the players' fault for so many ejections? Is it strict officials? How do you feel about
Look,
it?
I think the league definitely has cracked down this year on some of the player commentary after calls and stuff like that. I know they did change the rule on the continuation. If a player gets fouled and they're not in the immediate active shooting, it's not free throws. Where in the past was if you got fouled and you didn't take a dribble, you can still make that one step or something and get a shot up and it would count. So. I don't think the players haven't adjusted to that yet. Most of the calls that I see are because of that, and they're bickering about that. And then also the foul calls. Look, the officials are not consistent with the way they call fouls. A lot of times you'll see a guy get mugged going down the lane, get slapped in the arm, they don't call it, and then they use the excuse, we're gonna let him play. It's a physical game. But then next time down the floor, you'll see a guy get touched on the hand, and they'll call a foul. So just inconsistent officials. I understand why the players are getting angry about it. I think it's a very emotional game, being competitive, and I think the players need to give some, be given some slack.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is just players they see certain calls not being called, and then one call would be called that's not as rough as that past one, and they'll be angry.
Yeah,
They'll be like,
justified. It's justified.
But I agree that maybe it is a little strict, but at the same time, like, you should know better. You're a professional. You don't get in a ref's face or curse them out or anything like that. What are you expecting to happen? But
I think I agree with that. I think the players need to control themselves, especially some of the recent ones like Anthony Davis getting ejected. He went after the ref. You can't do that. And then DeMarcus Cousins ejection a couple weeks ago where he elbowed a guy, Russell Westbrook. That's definitely an ejection. But I feel
Sean Livingston.
Definitely
getting head to head with that. That's definitely an ejection.
But the LeBron one, I feel like they should have let some of it go. LeBron's angry about a call. You tell him, hey, cut it out. But I think it was the immediate ejection. No, not a technical one. It was the immediate ejection.
It seemed pretty.
If a guy's bickering about a call or debating a call, give him a chance to say what you got to say and then move on. If he keeps it up, then you give him a technical foul, and then the second one you throw him out. But you throw him out immediately after the original confrontation, and I think they need to give the player some slack.
Yeah, I agree. I just feel maybe they need to get a few more slack, except for certain situations, like I said, the Sean Livingston. Obviously, that's up. I mean, that's a clear ejection. But some of them, I just think it'd be better at the officiating. Like, if you be consistent, if you're gonna call it, but don't call it later in the game. Just be consistent with what your calls, and I just feel you're gonna see the player ejections definitely go down.
Yeah.
But kind of flipping over to baseball, first time we talked about the show, I feel like we got to talk about the Yankees hiring Aaron Boone. Do you like the hire? I mean,
I don't think it was a bold hire, and I'm not really I don't really have a strong agreement or a strong disagree. I think it was a good hire for them. He knows the Yankees organization. He knows the expectations in New York. He's played there, had a little success there as a player. I still think they should have kept Joe Girardi. Thought he did a great job with that young Yankees team. Definitely have a lot of young prospects and could have done something special here in the next couple of years. This is a big time for the Yankees, though, with all those prospects. Hopefully Aaron Boone has some success.
Yeah, I didn't agree with the firing of Joe Girardi. I felt like they weren't even supposed to make the playoffs, and he got them there.
Yeah.
So Aaron Boone, he's a former player of the Yankees. I mean, we'll see if he can do some. I'm not hot on the hire, but I don't disagree with the hire.
Yeah.
But maybe let's see what he can do with this young squad. I feel like maybe that's what it was. They have new prospects coming up, so they want to get a new face, kind of grow with these young guys.
Yeah.
So that's maybe how the Yankees were probably seeing it. Joe was with the old guys, so let's get in a new face to kind of grow with these young guys.
Definitely a different direction that the Yankees are going in. Past years they've tried to go after free agency and sign these big guys to big time contracts.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're starting to kind of build through their farm system, and I like the way they're going. They have some good young prospects with Aaron Judge.
With Aaron Judge leading the way, and then Clint Frazier.
Clint Frazier coming up, yeah.
Yeah, so definitely those young guys and more coming in. Torres should be coming up.
Torres coming up too,
Yeah, so definitely watch out for the Yankees, and we'll see what Aaron Boone can do next year.
Yeah.
But I feel like the big question everybody wants to know is where will John Carlos Stanton be at the beginning of the 2018 season? Your prediction?
I'm going to say the Dodgers. Too much money, too much prospects out there. They have the resources to go get him. I think the Dodgers end up with him.
I feel like I'm copying you, but I agree with that. I just feel the Dodgers have the money to take on a contract like that, and I mean, let's be realistic here. They don't really need their prospects. They already have a good team.
Yeah.
Their top prospect, they can give up to try and get him.
And Giancarlo does have the no trade clause, so a team, you want a team that's going to get him has to be attractive to him. And they just went to the World Series. They lost, so maybe adding Giancarlo Stanton gets them over the hump next year.
I know the Giants are one of the other teams that's really high on him. But I usually look at it. Dodgers just went to the World Series. Giants just didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Where would you rather go?
Better situation for him.
I feel for him, he would like the Dodgers situation way more than he would like the Giants situation.
I agree.
So we're both in agreement here. Dodgers.
I think he goes to the Dodgers.
Okay, so we both think he definitely gets traded then.
Definitely gets traded. Marlins they're in rebuild mode.
Yeah, I think they need to blow it up. I think he'll be the first of a few to come.
I think Degor will be traded too.
I think maybe even Ozuna might be traded as well. So we'll definitely see what the next few weeks, maybe months brings, and we'll just see where he lands at the beginning of next year. But kind of to close it out like we always do every week, gotta ask. Start of the week. Who is it, sir?
I'm going to go with the entire Ohio State backfield. J.T. Barrett, J.K. Dobbins. Great game. J.K. Barrett having a knee injury, having surgery on Sunday, coming back after a week, playing in the Ohio State Big Ten championship game. Huge win for them. Gets them in the playoff. I mean, doesn't get them in the playoff, sorry, but big game for them. J.K. Dobbins, true freshman, 17 carries, 174 yards, averaging 10 yards a carry. And then J.T. Barrett, he wasn't good completion percentage-wise, but he had 211 yards, and he accounted for all 3 touchdowns. Impacted the game with his legs. Just his leadership really showed in this game against Wisconsin.
Yeah, my stud of the week, it's got to be LeBron. I mean, the way the Cavs have been playing, just won their 13th straight game. His stats since the last Wednesday, he's averaging 28 points a game, almost 10 assists a game, almost 7 rebounds a game. I mean, the dude's he's in MVP form right now, and he's really carrying that team. And, I was saying earlier, and we were like one of our first shows, we were talking about with the Celtics being so hot. I mean, are they the best or the Cavs? And I said the Cavs. I stuck with the Cavs, and it's proven why. He's shown me that I was right to stick with him. So definitely my star of the week's LeBron, without a doubt. Just what he's done and what the Cavs team has been doing with him playing like that.
I agree.
So another great episode this week, and we appreciate all of y'all out there for listening. Please keep listening. Stay tuned till next Wednesday's episode. And just keep giving us feedback. Let us know if we can do better. And Austin, is there anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for listening. Think we're really getting onto something here with our last 3 shows. We backing them up each week with having the same kind of shows. Thank you for your support. We hope you keep watching. And I just want to give a shout out to the entire Ann Annenberg family. We love y'all. And shout out J-Rowe.
All right. Please stay tuned in for next Wednesday for next week's show. Good night, America.